It doesn't work that way. The reason why billboards are up there is to touch those people another time. The owners of the air conditioning companies know, because guess what? Every customer is not your customer. Like, I got Tommy Mello talking about aliens and all kind of crazy stuff. She goes, one thing I know for sure, you are the worst employee ever.
So I'm here with Jonathan Bannister, who is the founder of Cornerstone Marketing Solutions. In the future, that's going to be called Top Serve. He is also the host of the Home Service Hustle podcast. I think he has like 5 other businesses. I don't want to go into all of those. But yeah, thank you so much for taking this time, Jonathan.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Will, for having me here. Got to know you just a couple months back. We've spent a little time together, so it's cool to come on and talk to your audience.
Perfect. So the first question is, are you related to John Travolta?
No, not yet. Not that I know of. What makes you ask that?
I saw a Facebook post where someone put a bald filter on you, and you look a lot
Yeah.
like that. So.
Yeah, my kid did that with Snapchat, and we were sitting at breakfast one morning at this restaurant, and they're on the other side of the table laughing with my wife, and I was like, what's so funny? And they were like, oh my God, wait till you see this. And they showed it to me, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, whatever, y'all can make fun. I said, I know who I look like there. And I just remember seeing that picture of him, and it's from this recent movie, and I just watched it on an airplane the other day. I'm trying to think what the name of it is, but he's like a bank robber, this real sophisticated bank robber that falls in love with this girl that he's working with, but she's an undercover FBI agent or something. But that's when I guess the first movie that he went ahead and went completely bald with the beard. So I'm like, so that made me feel good, because I've been receding hairline for a while, but like when the time's here to just take it off, I'm not gonna hold on to it. I'm not gonna have perfect hair like Will here for forever.
Well, I was actually just gonna say, someone did the bold filter on me, and it's
not
as
as
pretty.
okay.
No.
Well, hey, at least you know. So I'm glad those filters exist, right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to make sure I maintain this.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you were a cop. Can you kind of like walk through what that was like, and then how you went from being a cop to a like SEO PPC specialist digital marketer? It's kind of a crazy change.
Yeah. I think, it's a cool story, and I think it's one of those things that everything happens the way life's supposed to, like as long as you take those opportunities when they actually come. I think we all have crossroads that happen at different times in our lives, and depending on which way we go, or if we're scared to take chances, then, we go down a different path. But it's that whole, we'll never know what happened, if I would have went the other way. I've never really been scared of taking chances and opportunities, and I've always been like, I try to look at things that happen as, why is this happening? What am I supposed to be learning from this? Or instead of it just being, oh no, like this is the worst thing that's ever happened, what am I going to do? So yeah, I was in law enforcement from 2009 until 2012, 13 or 14. I don't remember the exact year. And here's the thing, Will, is I knew that I wanted to be in some type of law enforcement, or I tell people when I was younger, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like I used to either want to be a cop or I wanted to be in the Italian mob. And I could never find the application to join the mob, but I've always thought I thought they were super cool and fascinating, and I'm not Italian, so they wouldn't let me in. But I was going to school for criminal justice, and I knew that I wanted to be in law enforcement. Probably wanted to go on the federal side, but the thing was, when I was going to school for criminal justice, we had the war going on, and a lot of guys I knew that were coming back from war. I wasn't in the military, so those government jobs were being given, obviously, rewarded to the guys that had military experience, and they deserved that. So I knew after my first few years in local law enforcement, I was enjoying it. I worked with some awesome guys, and I loved going out and catching bad guys and working the streets and stuff, but I knew that it wasn't going to be my forever job. because and how I knew that was because I would watch my lieutenants and the brass that would be at the end, down the hallway, as they call it. And I would go like, these people are miserable. They're fat. They hate life. Like, they're mean. And I'm like, I would never want that. That would never be my 30-year plan. But I didn't know what I was going to do. And before that, like, I'd sold real estate. I was a casino host. I actually started dealing cards in the casino and worked my way up through management in the table games area, and then decided to be a host, which is essentially a sales job because you're selling and wining and dining. Oh, sorry about that.
No worries.
You're wining and dining guests to make sure they come back and make sure that they're spending money and they're having a good time. So I've always been in some type of sales, but so it was 2000. I guess it was 13 or 14. But I got caught up into politics in law enforcement. So I arrested someone that was the sheriff of the town that I was a city cop. So in that county, there was, 4 or 5 cities part of that county. But the county is the jail that we would bring people to. And so the sheriff's name is right there on the outside of the jail and everything. Well, I arrested his son, but I was ordered to arrest his son. And I was told when I started working at this police department, like, man, there's this one guy, if you interact with him, make sure you call your supervisor immediately, because he was a little punk, right? I mean, he was young, he's 21, but he was always getting into trouble. Why? Because his dad was a sheriff and he was just, he was a punk. But I didn't deal with him for like 2 years. But then one morning, on my way in to the police department, so I worked 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., and it was like 5:30 a.m., and I'm making one last pass through an apartment complex, and I called out so that they could, mark it off in the CAD system, like, hey, I'm pulling through here. There had been some break-ins and stuff, so I was just like, hey, I'm making a pass. And I shined my light actually, through where the air-conditioned systems were in between these apartments. And again, it's 5:30 in the morning. It's pitch dark. And I see, like, someone moving between there. I'm like, what? And so I get out the car, and I see this guy jump up from behind the bushes, and he's got no shirt on, but he's got a gun in his waistband. So I immediately draw down my weapon on him. And once I get the weapon from him and I ask him for identification, he didn't have it, but he tells me his name, and I'm like, gee, are you serious? So I call my supervisor, but then like my assistant chief shows up on scene, and I'm going like, seriously? Like, you're in bed sleeping, but you just showed up here? Like, for what? All we do is that we have a kid that may not be old enough to have a firearm, but I'm like, what is the big deal here? Well, I'm just like about to leave. It's like, it's time to go home. And I'm ordered to arrest him. And I was like, for what? I was like, you arrest him. And they were like, the code to arrest was 1015. They were like, go ahead, 1015. And I'm like, no. I'm like, why? I don't want to deal with the paperwork. Like, y'all aren't even going to let me take him to the sheriff's department because they won't even let me through the gate with this kid, right? I'm like, that's so stupid. And they were like, go ahead and arrest him. Well, my brother-in-law is an attorney. He's actually an attorney for my company now, but his law firm that he worked for represented the jail. So I go home eventually that morning. I go to sleep. I get woken up by a phone call, and it's my brother-in-law. And I was like, hey, Drew, I know what this is about. He goes, yeah, is there anything we can do? I'm like, you don't have to do anything because I'm not going to show up to court. I'm like, I didn't want to arrest the kid anyways. I was forced to. And I said, I didn't want to get caught up in these stupid politics and stuff. So long story short, I started being told over the next couple weeks to just be on the lookout because the sheriff is furious. And the sheriff went to our mayor and made a bunch of threats. Man. And I'm like, man, I just don't want to get caught up into this. And so I just started talking to my wife going, look, this isn't my forever job. I see how dirty local politics can get, and I didn't want anything to do with this. So she was like, well, look, we had 3 babies in 3 years, 2012, 13, 14. So life was a little stressful, and she's like, you're not making any money. You're broke. You're poor. We're poor. And she's like, well, why don't you consider doing something else? So I'll never forget. I'd reached out to a buddy of mine that I went to grade school with that was like super smart, right? I mean, he graduated college with some kind of like he like had to make a movie to graduate, whatever that degree was in. But his movie actually made it to the Sundance Festival. He made this really awesome documentary on Hurricane Katrina that we had all went through. And so he was just super talented guy. So I reached out to him. I'm walking in a doctor's appointment one day, and I call him, and I was like, hey, I just got a question. Are you working on anything? Because I'm thinking about leaving law enforcement. And he was like, man, you'll never believe this, but I was thinking about calling you because I'm starting to build mobile apps, and I need someone to sell them. And I was like, cool, I'll just come over to your house, and I'll check out what you got. So he shows this to me. So this is 2000, let's call it 14. And he's showing me these mobile apps that he's building, which is like these, templated cookie cutter apps, but still they get put in the app store. You've got push notifications, you've got geofencing you could do. And I'm just like a real visionary person. So I start looking at this and I'm going, well, I'm a big golfer. And I was like, well, I'll go to every golf course here in the Gulf Coast area where I live, and I'll sell them all a mobile app because where I was originally from in Biloxi, Mississippi, it rains all the time. It's super humid in the summer, so it gets so hot it just rains like it does Orlando for like an hour or two each day. So you can't really predict. If it says it's 100% not going to rain, it's probably going to rain. And if it's 100% it's going to rain, it probably won't rain. So people have to, it's hard for them to like take off work and schedule to go play golf because it'll get messed up. But the way golf courses work, unfortunately, is you may have a tee book full of tee times, but if it rains that day, you got a bunch of cancellations. You got a bunch of people that need to come in and get rain checked, right? And so, but if it doesn't, if it was supposed to be 60% chance, 70% chance of rain, they're not busy at all because people are like, well, I checked the weather. I'm not going to come. But what if it doesn't rain? They have no way to get people instantly. They're not going to call the radio station and go, all right, put something on the radio and tell them to come out here. So I was thinking, man, all they got to do is get people to download the app, stick a QR code right there on the counter, give them a free bucket of balls to the driving range, and tell them if you download the app, you get a free bucket of balls. It's already a fixed cost. It's paid for. And now you've got them locked in to now you do a push notification and say, hey, anybody that wants to play today, all you can play, $30. And I'm like, hey, you put a few extra $100 in the cash register, it's money you weren't going to get anyways. So every golf course I went to, bought one. Every restaurant I went to, bought one. Because I was like, man, you could set a geofence to like these 5 blocks around you, and anybody that rides in there, it push notifications to them and tells them, get a free appetizer if you come in today. So I sold them all the restaurants. Well, here's how my marketing career started. So I started going to more and more businesses and selling them. And this one business it was a restaurant. It was called Blowfly Inn. And I played poker a lot with the owner. And he was like, sure, Jonathan, this looks great. I'd love to take one. He goes, but listen, my website, can you help me with my website? Because when you look at our restaurant on the phone, you got to like use your fingers to like spread it and make it bigger. It just doesn't fit. And I didn't know that was called mobile compatible or anything like that. And again, this is 2014, so a lot of the website builds weren't doing it automatically. Like you had to build it specifically for it. And I was like, well, sure, let me look into that. We can help you. Then a couple days later, I go to this trucking company that like bought and sold 18-wheelers for shipping stuff. And I go to this guy that I knew that owned it, and he goes, I'll take one. And he goes, listen, before you go, dude, my SEO sucks. Can you help me with my SEO? And I was like, hey, Matt, absolutely. Let me get back to you on the pricing. I go to my car, Will, and I Googled, what is SEO? I had no clue what it was. I'd never heard of it before. So I said yes to both of those things, and then I obsessed on finding out how to do it, and I obsessed on how to outsource. And next thing you know, that's how my marketing career started. And so I went from not knowing anything about websites. I didn't know what SEO stood for, and I got super obsessed with it. So from 2014 till now, this will be over 10 years at this point, I've learned a lot with digital marketing. It's changed a lot. It's ever changing, but that's how I transitioned. One day I was a cop, and literally the next day I'm selling mobile apps and Googling what is SEO.
Man, I like that story. Do you think that guy didn't ask you to do his SEO, you'd be in this space? Do you think you would have found it later? Or?
I mean, I want to say no, right? I want to say that was one of those paths that I was standing there and I had the opportunity, because look, once it told me what SEO was, it stands for search engine optimization. It stands for, that's how the ranking of the search engine works. Oh, I mean, okay, that meant nothing to me. But if I wouldn't have obsessed over, and it was really, how do I honor me saying yes to this guy? Now, I didn't give him a price. He didn't pay me. But I said, yeah, let me look into it. I'll get back to you. That was me going, I didn't want to let him down. Let me figure this out. And so the more and more I looked into it, I was like, listen, I don't know how to do it. And to this day, I mean, I don't know how to go do SEO. Like, I don't know how to go build backlinks and stuff. Like, and the thing was, I purposely, because really that business partner that I had at that time, who's still a great friend of mine, he is with me pretty much full time in my agency, and we're going to kick off a new agency here soon that I will co-partner with him on, but he's going to run it. It's going to be in the pest control space. You actually met him one day on a call that we did.
Oh, that was him. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So back in 2014, what happened was we took off, things started growing, things got real crazy and fun. But then the more and more I wanted to push to, can we make our partnership official? It was, I really just wanted to own my own business. We're still young, I don't know. We're in our 20s at that time. So I don't, I'm not mad at him for that decision that way, but I knew how to sell. And he knew how to build things. And he's an AI wizard at this point. And that's why he's with me, full time, because he is a genius when it comes to all of it. But we had a great combo, and his family even said, dude, look, Jonathan can sell it. You can go make it. Y'all, it's a perfect team. And he says to this day, it's the only thing he regrets is like, because we left on great terms. I said, cool, I'm going to go start my own company. And I did, right? And I started it quickly, and I quickly, picked up a lot of business in the HVAC space. And that story really came from my older brother. He was doing direct mail and other print marketing stuff out of Dallas. And his wife was the president of a major manufacturer and still is to this day. So he was getting a lot of business from direct mail from them. And they would say, hey, man, thanks for the direct mail. That's great. Hey, do you know anybody that does websites or digital marketing? And he would pass it on to me. So the next thing you know, 90% of my portfolio of clients was all HVAC. So that's how I quickly, got put into it and have fallen in love, with the home service space. But no, I don't think so, Will. I think that's one of those things that you want to say, well, I would hope that the stars would have still aligned. But I think that is one of those times that all of us have to realize that, somebody asked you, hey, do you want to come take this new job with this new company? You have to move over across the country or something. And you freeze and you go, I don't know. Like, what if it doesn't work out? I just think if there's something in your gut that says that might be fun or...
I'm sorry. Dog really wants to meet you.
Well, hello, Doggy. What's Doggy's name?
His name's Doug.
Doug. I love it.
I apologize. He's really...
he's super cute, dude.
Go on. I apologize.
But I think all of us, I think everyone can probably sit and think of a few times of those opportunities, whether it's a relationship or a business opportunity, but something that we can think that we were offered something or something came and crossed paths and we decided not to. And sometimes we can look and go, whew, I'm glad I didn't do that because look where I am today. But then you don't ever know where you would have been, right? You don't know what that right choice. And maybe you did. Maybe you went left and you could have went right and left was the correct way. But I think in this situation, do I think I would still be doing something fun and exciting? Because I love building relationships with people. I'd love to talk about a product or a service. And, I feel like I'm pretty good at sales. So would I be doing something like that? Yes. Would I own my own business? I don't know, man, because I can tell you this. My wife reminds me all the time. She goes, one thing I know for sure, you are the worst employee ever. Because I used to get in trouble or get fired from places because I have a mouth on me, but it's just because I hate incompetence. I hate just pure laziness. I didn't really know about efficiency and stuff until I owned my own business, but it's like when I worked in the corporate world, man, it is so much inefficiency. There's so much laziness. There's so much waste. Yeah. And it's like, so I would see it and I would go like, well, why are y'all doing it this way? You know, like, does it make any sense? Why don't we cut these 3 steps out and do it? Now the customer is going to get it faster. They're going to be happier. Man, and your supervisor would look at you thinking that, oh, you're trying to take my job. You're trying to be the cool guy. And I'm like, no, I'm just trying not to do 3 extra steps like a dumbass because it doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, I did not do well working for people. And, you know, I just really feel like in the last couple, maybe probably last year, I've been a good leader in the company, you know. But it's been fun. I'm glad that I went in that direction and took that road that was offered to me. And, you know, and there's crazy things that happen, right? I mean, like, it was my buddy got me into it, and then, you know, him and I had a great thing going on, and then he wanted to be on his own, and I had a ton of success over the last 8 or 9 years. He has struggled. Why has he struggled? Because he's not good at sales, you know, and to this day he's not good at sales. So now we've come full circle. He's on my team full time, and I'm teaching him how to be a leader. I'm letting him oversee some teams. I'm letting him be part of an R&D department that actually has some funds to play around with some things in the AI world and stuff. And it's like, show me you can stay on task and that you can lead these people, and then you and I will go start this. It's called Bug Out Marketing, but we'll go into the pest control space only.
You guys are here with the names.
And you're going to do it only. I don't want anything to do with it. And it's all set up. The websites are built. All the newsletters are there. It's like he's itching to like, let's do it. And I'm like, no, because we're going through this rebrand from Cornerstone to Top Serve. And I'm like, you're going to help me get through this rebrand. We're going to make sure it launches successfully. And I got to get all of my team 100% dialed in so that I can fully step away for 6 months or whatever to help you get it off the ground. And until I can, you know, do that, then no, right? And so he's being patient, but it's cool to see how the, you know, everything evolved and you know, got us to where we are today.
Perfect. So what kind of, like, what were some of the biggest challenges or difficult times you went through while building Cornerstone or any of your other businesses?
Yeah, I think it's something that every business out there can relate with, whether it's home service or it's digital marketing. I've struggled with staffing over the years, and more so as a leader of the company by hiring the wrong people and seeing things in people that may not have been quite what they really were, right? Because I could get blinded on they're a good person. They have a good heart, and they care about me in this company more than anything. And so that has always meant a lot to me because that loyalty and that respect is super important. The problem is if they don't have the right skill set and talents to match with that determination, it's not good. And so my problem was I hired a lot of the people that weren't the right person for the right seat. All right. So we practice EOS, and it's right person, right seat. So I had a lot of people in the wrong seats, a lot of the wrong people, but they were good. So man, I had a hard time letting those people go, even when I knew they were the problem. And I would make up excuses, and I would hold on to people sometimes 6 months to 2 years longer than I should have. A lot of them I still have decent relationships with because we all agree that it was just not the right time. They weren't the right person. I wasn't the right leader, whatever that may be. But now that is something I can tell you I think all businesses struggle with at some point. I don't think there's a perfect formula out there. And if somebody tries to say that there is, I think they're wrong. I think there's great practices that we can implement to make sure. But dude, I've hired some people that are like, whoa, their resume looks awesome. On the face to face, they're absolutely amazing. Out the gate, they may be perfect. Next thing you know, they're a freaking psychopath, right? I mean, like they're bipolar and they've just completely duped you. You don't know. I mean, like I've heard some crazier stories than I even have. And I know some people that go through some crazy hiring strategies, and still 6 months in, all of a sudden the person goes off their rocker, their medication or whatever, and they're jumping up the walls trying to, filing lawsuits on, they're crazy. So there is no perfect solution there, but man, that's been a struggle. And so now I will tell you more than anything, I'm going to tell people out there, spend the money to find the right people. I was told a long time ago by one of my business coaches, Josh Nelson, that hiring A players is like the biggest thing that you can do. And I always heard that, and it's like, what is a real A player, right? And then I would hear people say, you can't bring on 6 C players and think that equals 1 or 2 A players. It doesn't work that way. And I used to sit there and think, okay, I'm going to hire an SEO person, or I'm going to hire a web developer. And they've got 3 or 4 years experience, and here's their skill level. But then there's this dude over here that has been doing it for 15 years and can write this code in his sleep and is so amazing at his portfolio. Well, I mean, I can get these people a whole lot cheaper, but I can get more of them, so I can get more work can be done, is what you think. But that's not the case, because this person over here is so much more efficient, has their timing and all their deliverables dialed in. What you expect is what you're going to get out of that person. And the other thing I'll tell you is that other A players, A players want to work around other A players. And when you take a group of A players and you throw some shit bags, some C players, a couple, 2 Bs and a D player, the A players want to hit the eject button because they can't stand working with people that are inefficient and lazy.
Yeah.
And so you also got to find forward-thinking people. Like, I think that like the critical thinking skills is like, whoa, all right? And I know you're younger than me. I'm not going to sit here and throw dirt on young people, because I know you're not in that group. But I'm telling you, man, I don't know if it's from the technology's dumbed us down or what it is, but there's just not a lot of critical thinking that takes place. And it's like, I will tell you, we do not hire people that are good task doers any longer. So if you are super efficient, you're a rock star as far as getting things done. If you can't find and see problems when they become a problem or before they become a problem, and you can't come with problem and solutions, I don't need you. Because if all you're going to do is take, something that's got a bunch of tasks listed and check those tasks off super fast. And I don't care if you get them right every single time. Now, there's certain businesses where, like, let's say if you're an installer, at an air conditioning company, right? Or you're a VA to some extent. If you're great at, okay, I'm going to do my steps exactly the way I was trained to do it, and I'm going to knock it out. That is good for some types of businesses. But man, you've got to have people that are creative and they're willing to speak up and they're willing to go, hey, so I give everyone the freedom in our agency. We do huddles Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 30 or 45 minutes every morning on those 3 days. And I encourage everyone, come with ideas. Let's talk about things. If we're only talking about problems, that's not good, because we should be hearing solutions to things that weren't a problem, but we were just trying to catch it before it became one. So we don't really hear problems anymore. We may hear a mistake here and there, but we don't hear about a problem that, oh man, we got a problem we need to solve. No, because everyone's coming with solutions and going, hey, maybe if we tried this, we could maybe save some time here and get a better result here, and the client would be happier. And I tell people, listen, we may not always use your solution that you bring to the table, But I tell you what, I will be grateful. I will be thankful for it. And we will talk it out loud. And you're going to hear why we decided not to use it. And we may be wrong. And we may come back later. But please do not get discouraged. And that's kind of been game changer for us.
So how do you identify an A player?
Well, we ask questions during the interview process. I want them to take scenarios and be able to walk me through how they would solve it. And I want to hear, I think a lot of people ask interviews like, tell me a time that, this and this happened. Like, we do that, but we really pump it with steroids. Like, I don't want them to just be able to make up some, story. Like, I want to, and then we're going to go deeper. Tell me a time that you had a problem that you had to deal with and that, it went poorly, right? And I want them to think through it, and then I want to pick their brain on, like, so what made you not, do X, Y, and Z? What did you do? Like, what happened when you reflected on that? What was the repercussions of that? Like, what did your supervisors do? And, like, we will just talk in a very deep manner on some of these hypothetical or real life situations that they've done. But I want to see how their brain works. I want to see how they solve problems. And that tells me a lot when you put somebody on the spot like that and you give them some problem solving things of, how would you handle this, this, and this? And, a lot of times there's ways that their mind works. And especially when you ask it from the, you want them to shoot from the hip. And so when you go, here's the problem, and here's what is happening, and here's what we need you to do, how would you do this and why? I don't want them to sit there and pause for 2 minutes to think about it. I want them, and I tell them ahead of time, I'm going to ask you some questions, and I'm going to ask how you would solve this, but I want you to answer quickly. There's no wrong answer, but I want you to answer quickly. I don't want you to put too much thought in. But really, man, it's the way that the neuro pathways fire is important to me, because I want to know right off the bat how would they had handled that. And then what I'm hoping is that they talk through it, and then they go, you know what? As I said that, I actually think I may do it this way. And I'm like, cool, that's perfectly fine. Because I mean, as a leader or something in the company, I don't want you to make these knee-jerk reactions. But I do, you can't be a deer in headlights and freeze and not be able to move forward with something. And so I also tell everyone in our company, for every problem, like, do not come to anyone in this company with a problem. You better come with a problem with like three solutions that you think would be good. So yeah, I think getting super deep on the hypothetical questions is very important, but just don't let it to be a question that you're asking in an interview. Make it be for a reason to say, okay, these are real things that have happened in our air conditioning company, in our digital marketing agency. These are problems in the past that you've had that you got frustrated with one of the technicians or one of the SEO staff members. So now ask that same thing. Here's what happened. How would you handle it and why? And hopefully you can save yourself some frustration of hiring someone that you obviously had to let go in the past.
I really like that. How do you deliver? I took a look at your reviews. You have a ton of good ones. Just rolling in. How do you deliver consistent success for your clients?
Communication. I think communication has been the number one driver for success for us. As you know, doing digital marketing yourself, digital marketing changes every single day. It's scary. It's awesome and exciting at the same time. AI is, this big new exciting thing, but I mean, people have no idea what true AI is or what it's going to be tomorrow or, a week or two from now. Communicating is the number one thing, I think, in all business. If you truly put a lot of effort into your customer service experience, you buy yourself so much time, so many passes you get with your clients or customers if you communicate properly with them. And so here's what I tell my team, Will. and they understand this, is that we rarely, if ever, bring on a new home service company that is not currently leaving another marketing agency. So if you think about that and you only obsess over that, you have to put yourself in their shoes. They're upset. They're maybe financially struggling because of the experience they just went through, whatever it is. So now they've entrusted us to take over their business. But that first 30 days, that transition going from one company to the next, it has to be flawless because they're scared. Their walls are up. They're angry. They're frustrated. They're holding back, whatever it is. They don't trust us yet. And they shouldn't, because guess what? They just trusted the last company and they failed somewhere. So I tell them that. And now, after hearing me talk about this for so long, our onboarding experience is, in my opinion, I say it's one of the best only because of the feedback we get from our clients. And they tell us. I've been with 7 other companies. I've been with 3 companies. And they're like, this is the best onboarding experience I've ever gone through. And I tell them, it is because I truly want to put myself in the shoes of those people. And man, they're scared. They're frustrated. And they're like, and you see this stuff online. These people go on, these people that hate digital marketing companies are like, they're all the same. They're just a bunch of shysters. You're going to get screwed. Just pick which one you're going to screw you. And I hate that. Look, digital marketing is not easy. Digital marketing companies do get a bad rap. Some suck, right? Some suck and they don't mean to suck, right? I mean, it's hard. You're not going to get perfect results all the time. We don't get perfect results all the time. But what I can tell you is that when you communicate and set the right expectations, you buy yourself so much time, because when you do have a bad month with the results aren't that great, the client, all they want to hear is, we come to them and said, hey, things aren't great, but X, Y, and Z is our plan. That's all they want to hear. Yeah. Because here's the number one complaint that I hear from people. Well, here's the problem I'm having is I've now had to call them 2 or 3 months in a row to tell them our numbers are down and our phones aren't ringing. What are you going to do? And they go, oh, you know what? We should try this. And they're mad because they're like, I shouldn't have to call you to tell you that things are bad. You should be calling me. So I tell my team, listen, we are not going to be perfect every month. But here's one thing you better do. You better see and better acknowledge that things aren't good. Address it, make the changes, but you better communicate that to the client and say, hey, listen, we've noticed that we're not getting the cost per lead at what we need, or we're not getting enough leads on LSA, and the projected thing that we had set doesn't look good. Now, we don't necessarily know the total revenue now, so maybe some of the leads that have come in have produced more revenue. So we just want to ask, middle of the month, how's revenue look? Is it on track or off track? Oh, it's not looking good. It looks like we're going to be off from, last month or the year before. Great. I mean, not great, but we're saying, cool. Well, we just wanted to let you know, we just sent some things over. We're seeing some of the same things. So here's some of the changes that we're making, and here's what we're suggesting. So, hey, can we have a little more money to throw on TikTok, or, this retargeting ad on YouTube, whatever it is. And guess what? The client, it gives them peace, because they're going, man, my marketing company, which we like to say we're a marketing partner. And when you do communicate these things with them, you are a partner, because it makes them feel like, man, they're looking at things and they're aware of things, and I'm not having to call and point the stuff out. So I think the biggest thing is communicating, but it's in every single business.
I really like that answer. Do you have any key processes, or other than communication, do you have any key processes or systems you're using to achieve consistency?
Video. So for us, we've gone all in on video over the last, let's call it probably 18 months. And to the point where we've created a separate company at this point that we'll be rolling out, called Top Serve Video. And because I don't care if you're already working with a digital marketing company, great. I want to support people like yourself and be able to help your clients and not try to take them on as a digital marketing client, but be able to help them with video and to be able to give people like you the roadmap to say, hey, look, here's how we're using these videos for SEO and paid ads to dominate. So yeah, we've really kind of tapped into looking at what does Google really want to see to dominate on like maps and when it comes to paid ads. And here's our philosophy behind it. Most people don't have their GBP set up properly, their Google Business Profile. Like there's so many features that can be turned on and listed on the GBP, and a lot of people don't have it set up right. Or some people just go in and they're clicking every single possibility, and so a lot of it's duplicated throughout the profile. So setting that up properly on an audit is step one, and then your website should be built to be almost a mirror image of your Google Business Profile. That's what we know Google wants, is they want those two to match. And then from there, it's creating content around all of those categories and subcategories that are on the GBP, creating content about on the website. And then we take it that one step further, which is adding video to it. So all of those subcategories, you may have AC repair, but then there's going to be subcategories that are listed on your GBP for AC repair. And we want to build content pages around those and video injected into it. We want to put YouTube videos. Who owns YouTube? Google, right? So they're really appreciating seeing that. When it comes to paid ads, creating funnels. And I'll tell everyone out there right now, if your marketing company is running ads right now and they're not creating funnels for you, like as in a targeting funnel, you're wasting a bunch of money, all right? And I see it all the time, and here's what I mean by it. I do a lot of travel and I go see a lot of clients, especially the new ones, to shoot video content. I go there to build the relationships with them. Every time I land, Atlanta, Georgia, Los Angeles, when I land, I start getting hit with Facebook and plumbing and HVAC ads on Meta. But it's always offers, right? And it's like, I'm not the target customer for them. I don't live there. But what should be happening is if I do get one of those companies' ads, it should be something of value, right? It should be something saying, hey, Jonathan here with ABC Heat and Air, and the season's changing here in Atlanta, Georgia, and we've got winter coming up. And so I just want to give you a couple tips on how to make sure that your furnace is ready to turn on whenever you do. Now, if I would have seen that targeted ad from this air conditioning company and I click the play button, probably I don't even click the play button unless I'm a marketing and I want to see it. But if I'm just a random person that flew into town, I'm not even going to click on it. So now I'm not going to retarget that person, right? And I'm definitely not going to waste money on lead generation to show them an offer for a new system for payments as low as $89 a month. So the proper way to do it is, I like to give people the analogy, you've got the funnel and it's wide and it goes down, but I use a cast net. So it's like, I'm here in DFW, I live in Dallas. There's almost 7 or 8 million people that live here. Well, I don't want to run a cheap offer for an air conditioned system to all of DFW. One, it would be too crazy expensive, but then you got to look at how much am I going to have to spend to get leads in. Because there's also, 5,000 air conditioning companies that are running the same type of ads here. So the way to do it, though, is you go, I want to run an impression-only ad. I want to run video content that provides value. And I'm not asking them to buy something, click something, do anything, except I'm going to be there going, hey, here's a home filtration system. Here's, cleaning your ducts. Here's some tips on how to do this. Whatever. You just come from a place of value, and then what you do is you say, anybody who watches more than 50% of this video, I want to show them the next piece. Well, the next piece can be, now you build trust and credibility with this future customer. So then you show them what we call a story brand video, right? It should be your digital business card. It should be that it should pull at the emotional heartstrings of people so that they can see the story of your company. What is the culture? Some interviews from the owner, the kids, whatever. that should be shown. And then you show them testimonies. So now you can see testimonials from past customers that are filmed and shot the right way. That's where you build trust and credibility, because guess what? People buy from people they know, like, and trust, right? Or they buy from people that they like and trust at the very least. But now that's your opportunity in the middle of the funnel. But so no one has seen an offer for anything yet. And you haven't wasted any money, real substantial money, because to get eyeballs on a video doesn't cost a lot of money. Whether it's Meta or TikTok or YouTube, it doesn't cost a lot of money. I mean, here, I'll tell people now, like, retargeting costs fractions, right? It's pennies. So how about run an email marketing campaign to your whole entire database of 10,000 people that you have, and put a message in there, simple HTML format that just says, hey, I'm Jonathan Bannister. I'm the owner of Jonathan Bannister Heat and Air. And I shot a video here to give you tips about making sure that when you turn your furnace on, that your home's going to be safe. And there's a link, and it's a YouTube link. Right? Now, everybody who clicks on that link, you have a retargeting pixel in, and now you get to retarget them on YouTube for something maybe that's got an offer in it. Maybe it is for a new system or for a tune-up or whatever it may be. But people are spending money trying to reach a bunch of people that don't know them, don't like them, don't trust them, and guess what? Didn't need them in the first place. Yeah. You showed me an ad for something that I didn't go to your website and look for it first. Like, you haven't even warmed me up. Like, you gotta take me to dinner, before you try to throw me in bed with you. So I think that's the biggest thing. Here's what I feel. I may not be right. A lot of people may comment and call in and tell you that this dude was a whack job that you had on your show. But here's what I think. The companies that get the most impressions from their local zip codes, their service area that they work on, the company that gets the most impressions each month is going to be the winner in the marketing world. So I don't care where you get those impressions from. You can get them from TV, you can get them from radio, you can get them from billboards, you can get them from Facebook. I think you need to be omnipresent on as many as you can. But when you get the most eyeballs on your brand, you are going to be doing very well. If you're always out there trying to buy the next customer with lead generation, you're going to fail, or it's going to get super expensive. I mean, it keeps getting more and more expensive. Yeah. Look, when LSA started out, it was $25 a lead. I told my clients, don't get too excited. It won't last long. I don't even know what the hell this platform is, right? I mean, because when it first got rolled out, it was like in 12 cities only. We jumped all over it, but it was like Dallas, Los Angeles, New York, Miami. It was the major 12 or 13 cities. And then that was 2017, I think. And then it started slowly going out to some more cities. But I told people, don't get used to $25. But man, they were racking them up. They were getting so many good customers from it, because at that time there wasn't a bunch of companies on it. Now my clients are like, oh my God, I can't get enough leads with my plumbing LSA, and it's like, well, yeah, because you're one of 1,000 companies in your area that's on it. Yeah. So you got to be omnipresent. You got to think of ways of how do you get yourself in front of more people. I'll tell you. We love, my mind went blank. The digital TV. We've cut the cord, right? I mean, so running ads on Hulu, connected TV. Man, I'm so sorry. But yeah, like, we love connected TV for our clients. So we take one of those story brand videos we created, which are typically minute and a half to 2.5 minutes, but we condense it down to a 30-second version of it. And we run ads, target their local area, and we're running ads on TV. And I'm like, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you couldn't do this. You had to go to your local TV station. You had to get in a contract with them. You had to fight over the local Ford dealership and these big, companies in your area. And it was super expensive. And you got the crap times and channels and everything else. I'm like, you've got the ability now, because more and more people are cutting the cord. They are on connected TV. So, but here's the thing, Will, is that people, marketing companies, I want to give all the secrets away. I'm going to give it to you. Tell everybody else not to listen.
All right. Nobody else listens.
Nobody else listens to it. You have to start educating your clients that they have to start strengthening their brand. They have to start thinking of their brand. And that's hard. Some people get it, man. And when we do get to work with those companies that get it, they invest a lot of money into their brand. I'm like, man, this is going to be fun. I love you. You know, is kind of what I tell them. We've got an amazing client, All Heart Heating and Cooling out of Lancaster, California. The owner, Dylan Rucker, he's become a true friend of mine. He invests a lot of money on his brand. They work with the team at Wizard of Ads, Ryan Shute and those guys. And I get to be in the brainstorming session each month with them. And it's cool because I'm learning a lot about branding, but we're piggyback off in all of it. So anything that they're doing on radio, we convert it into a digital ad and we're running it on digital. But you have to invest in your brand. It makes everything perform better. Why is that? Okay, well, everybody think of it. If you're visual, let's think of it. Customer goes and types in AC repair near me. Well, what pops up on that screen? On the top fold, you're going to probably have 2 LSAs. You may have 1 or 2 PPC, Google AdWords come up, and you're going to see the 3-pack of Google. It's typically going to be your top fold on desktop. On mobile, you may just see LSA, maybe AdWords, maybe the first Google Maps. Well, as the person scrolling and looking, you're still, even if you're on LSA, you come up, you're one of the 2. You're one of the 2 on Google AdWords. You're in the top 3 of Google Maps, right? I tell people there's 4 pieces of real estate on Google, right? SEO is going to be the other one. Well, great, but there's still other competition there. And you're paying a lot of money to make sure you're there, whether to the digital marketing company to come up on the organic stuff or being on the paid side of it. The problem is you still need to have a strong brand when it comes to that, because if they don't know you to go direct search looking for you, you better make damn sure that whatever you're paying to come up on that top page, that your brand, they go, because when they search AC repair near me, they weren't thinking about you. But when they see those companies that come up, you better be the one that they can make an emotional connection with. Something hits the rear part of their brain and they go, oh yeah, I remember that funny thing they did, or I remember this whatever video I saw, something, or I've seen those cool trucks drive by. It better be something. Otherwise, you're competing against those other people there, even if you do have all 4 spots of real estate, you own a piece of it. So everything converts better. What you want, in all honesty, Will, here's how do you measure traditional marketing, like billboards or TV? The only way to measure that is by your direct search. Because if you put a call tracking number on the TV, traditional TV commercial, or on a billboard, like, you're going to be sadly depressed when you see the phone calls that come from it. No one's driving by 80 miles an hour going, oh, what was that phone number? Take a picture. It doesn't work that way. The reason why billboards are up there is to touch those people another time.
Yeah.
You know, there was a study that came out over a couple years ago. It used to be, I think, 7 touches. You had to touch somebody 7 times before they make a move. That number now is like 17 or 18. I think so. It was like a Harvard study. It's higher than that.
I think so.
But the reason why is because we swipe left or right or whatever to get girlfriends now. I mean, like, everything is so, I want to watch this 2-second TikTok video. Oh, man, that was boring. If you don't get someone's attention in the first 5 seconds, you're done. Yeah. Right? So there's so many more touches that you have to put out there. You have to start looking at, how do I become omnipresent? And what you want is you want your direct search to start going up. Your direct search where people are looking for your brand. Because this is what you want. If you want to be the dominating home service business in your area, you have to move your company brand from the front part of someone's brain to the rear part. Because the front part is the short-term memory where someone sees an ad and it's like, oh, there's a new water heater for, $10 a month. Man, that's a great price. But guess what? They didn't need a water heater right then. So you showed it to someone, and that's cool. They saw it in the price, that cheap offer, but they didn't need it right then. And the problem is, if you're not showing them more and more and more content and making them feel good about who you are, then when they do
need a new water heater, they can't remember who you were because you didn't stick it to the rear part of their brain. Because what you want to happen is when their water heater starts busting water all over the place and leaking, they go, oh, I need to call Allheart, because you want this jingle to start playing in their head, because their jingle that Wizard Bats came up with is Allheart Heating and Cooling. Comfort is only a heartbeat away. And then you hear boom, boom, you hear this heartbeat. All right, so you either want them to sing the song or you want to hear that heartbeat when they go, man, there's water going everywhere. And it's like they see Allheart something. They either see a visual, they hear a radio ad, they hear them calling their team members one of the good hearts, something you want to hit in their brain and go, oh, that's who I'm calling. I've never used them before, but I know that that's my company. But man, not enough companies are willing to do that, because they're on the Google, like they're addicted. They don't want to be. They say they don't want to be, but they're addicted to Google because they need those leads. I got to have the business, and it's like, yes, but you have to plan properly. You need to understand how much is it going to cost you in your area to acquire a new customer, and then you got to look at the lifetime value of that customer. But you also got to make sure that you're not underselling yourself, because guess what? Every time one of your guys go to someone's home, you had to pay for that lead, whatever it cost you. You got to pay for that technician to go out there, their hourly rate. You got to pay the truck cost of the note of that vehicle. You got fuel costs. You've got toll costs. You got insurance. You've got all these things. So that lead is very expensive. And if your team's not going out there and actually making sure that they're presenting that call the right way and giving different options and showing people you got these technicians that go like, I'm not going to sell them all this stuff, or, they don't need all that stuff. And it's like, it's not about what they need. You got to give them the opportunity to say, do I want that or not? Teach them about what it can do or may do or should do, and let them make the decision. You don't know what they want or need. You don't know if they've got a bunch of kids in the house and animals that have sinuses and a bunch of issues. So don't just assume that you don't want it, but you got to teach your team, hey, this is about what it costs, $300 to $500 for you to get in that truck to go to that home. So when you come back with a $219 service ticket, I just lost money. And if you continue to do that, then we're going to go out of business. But I got to be the one that educates, and you got to be the one, Will, that you got to educate your customers, your clients, and you got to tell them, if you don't work on your brand and you're only out there trying to feed Google and Yelp and all these other platforms for new leads, then you're always going to be doing that. You're chasing and buying a new customer every time. But what you should be doing is you need to nurture the life of those customers. Make sure you sell them a club membership. Get it affordable. I love the $99 club membership maintenance plan. Why? Because at $250, you're losing money. To go out to that home twice a year, when you factor in all those things that I just mentioned, you're losing money at $250 or $300. You are. I don't care where you're at. You can be in Arkansas or California, you're losing money. So pick your loss. I would rather lose a little more money, but be able to go to that home and turn them into a customer that's with me year after year for $99, because now I've got customers to market to. I've got people to say, hey, we also do plumbing, not just HVAC. We can also, do a water heater flush, or we can do, whatever that is. We also do electrical. We can go out and do an electrical inspection. You have to get your own customers. You've got to have those people that you can market to. But if you're strengthening and working on your brand, those people that haven't, not that they don't know you, because they know you through the branding strategies, but the ones that haven't needed you yet, when they do need you, they're going to call you, but they're going to think of you. But I think not enough people budget out the right number to work on their brand. And they think running ads and doing digital marketing or doing any kind of advertising is branding, and they're not the same.
How long do you typically see it take for like an awareness campaign like that to have an effect on like the brand recognition and getting more people to convert whenever they're showing up?
I think there's a lot of things that go into it. It's really how aggressive you're willing to be. If you're going to do something bold and funny, and some of these TikTok trends that we'll go shoot the videos where the person that's rolling out of the back of the ambulance, and then you stitch in like, again, it's like, it's funny, and it's like you're just popping up going, hey, I just wanted to talk to you about what our you need to make sure that your air conditioning system is going to perform right. So here's 5 things you can go check. And if you need any further questions, we've got a club membership for $99 and you can click here. If you're coming to them in a way that attention, right? I mean, it's like the M&M effect. I think, if you can get people talking about you, whether it's, obviously you want it to be good, but if it's good or bad, look, I know people that run some Wizard of Ads campaigns and they get some negative feedback from people that are sick of hearing their story on the radio or on TV. But the owners love it. The owners of the air conditioning companies know, because guess what? Every customer is not your customer. Every person out there in your community is not your customer. And that's okay. You need, as the business owner, you got to be okay with that. Like, we turn people down all the time at our agency because they're just not the right customer to work with us, and that's okay. But you got to understand that just because you're in this community with all these zip codes, that you're the right person for everyone there, and that's not it. So I think if you can do something that is makes a real impression, again, whether it's funny or whatever that may be, it won't take as long, right? But I mean, I think it's being consistent. It's getting your videos on shorts, on reels, doing, you and I both know Dennis. And so, doing the dollar a day strategy, all that simply is finding the winning videos. Guess what? The platforms will tell you. That's the cool thing. You don't have to go do the work. Like, Facebook and TikTok will tell you which videos are performing the best, and then you just pump more money behind those. So it shouldn't take as long. It's going to obviously matter how many people live there. What does that audience look like? But here's my thing. If you lock down your service area, I just say top of funnel and middle of funnel, you can't go wrong, because some of our clients don't even run bottom of the funnel ads. They don't run the call to action stuff. All they want to do is run ads to their top of funnel, giving value, middle of funnel, building trust and credibility. They don't run anything else, and they'll spend, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month. They want to just see the impressions, and they know that when we look at the analytics, that call volumes and stuff go up, especially during the busy season, because people are thinking about them whenever they do have a problem. That's what you want. You don't want people running to look. You got to get those emergency calls. You got to get the calls that people are jumping to Google because they're freaking out. The air conditioner's not working. Their home's flooding. I need a plumber, emergency plumber now. You want to get those calls, but I would rather get those calls and those leads through somebody who's never used me before, that didn't go to Google and put in emergency plumber near me. Instead, they typed in Flow Pros Plumbing, and all of a sudden in Service Titan it says they've never been a customer before, but it's like they called us directly, and they're like, yeah, I've never used you before, but like, I've been following y'all and I love your videos and I've seen some of the testimonials, and we knew that we were going to use you one day when we needed to. Well, guess what? That day's come. That's the people you want. And I say that because Google, I don't know what's going to happen with Google. I mean, look, Gary Vaynerchuk put something out a couple days ago that's really frightening for people like you and I, which is 10 years from now, 8 to 10 years from now, Google will not be around. This search engine will not be around. Google will. Search engines will not be a thing any longer, right? So he's saying that the search engine is going to be equivalent to what the phone book was. And so listen, like, stop relying on Google only, because just like TV commercials have always been real expensive, and we kind of went through that earlier, well, Google will start being more and more expensive, and everybody sees the prices going up. But why is the prices going up? It's because when they're losing more and more people advertising for them, they jack up the pricing to still make sure that there's shareholders, that they're still bringing in the same amount of revenue. So I think as more and more people start shifting to ChatGPT and these other sources to be able to get customers from, they're going to lose more business on Google search engine and the other search engines, and that's going to jack the price up even more. So I say you got to start diversifying where you're getting leads from, and you got to get omnipresent. And I think the best way to do it is using video and to work on your top and middle funnel, and just be okay with your spending money to reach people that are going to need you in the future. You may not get a direct return on investment immediately from it, but you have to trust it, because if you've ever done billboards before, you're not getting a direct return on your investment from the billboards. Same thing with radio, same thing with TV. Let digital marketing be the same way when it comes to running ads on social media. Go after the people that don't know you. Let them get to know you without shoving some kind of offer down their throat, and just let them get to know who you are and trust you a little bit.
I love that. What do you think some of the, other than like not running awareness campaigns, what do you think some of the common mistakes are among these trades companies in terms of their marketing?
Not truly understanding how much it costs to acquire a customer. And I blame the marketing companies a lot for this, because they even the ones that feel really confident about the services that they provide, they're just trying to bring them on as a client and go, hey, here's our package. Here's how much it costs. We're going to get to work for you. And even if they're really good at it, they're good at SEO, they're good at Google Maps, good at AdWords. That's great. But if you're just doing the work without a plan and purpose, you're doing that client a disservice. Because what if you are getting great results? I know you do great LSA work, but if you're just doing it to max out as many leads as you can, or if you're letting the client tell you, well, I want to spend $3,000 or $5,000 a month, but then all of a sudden they come back to you and go, well, we needed to make more revenue this month. And it's like, well, what do you mean? Like, we could have spent more over here. So then I think it comes down to, at some point, you're going to max out on a certain channel where you can't get really any more leads from. So then you got to jump to somewhere else to get the leads. And if you're like, I just brought on a new roofing company. It was a referral to me. So I did a 3-hour sales call with this guy, because I told him, I said, I don't do sales anymore. I've got sales guys, but what I do is I feel like I consult you. So I'm going to talk a lot, and I'm going to show you things. And when you get off the call, because you got referred to me through a friend of mine, you're either going to move forward with me, but if not, you're going to take everything I showed you and told you, and you can go apply it yourself or use another marketing company. And, but they were getting good results. Their SEO and Google Maps was pretty good, but, they were spending about $10,000 a month on LSA and AdWords. Well, they needed more revenue. He said, revenue's down. I'm like, well, why is revenue down? Or is the cost per lead, or, is it? And we dug into the numbers, and no, everything looked pretty good. So it was just like the time that the season that they're in, they had a storm in Houston 6 months ago or so, a few months ago, whatever it was. And so now that wave of needing new roofs is kind of past. So they should have adjusted things, and maybe you need to spend more money to bring in the same amount of customers and the same amount of leads. So there was like lack of planning there, but then that's all they were doing was LSA and Google AdWords. And it's like, man, you've got an opportunity to be running YouTube ads and showing people. He's got amazing footage of some of these roofs they've put on in the Houston area. And I'm like, you've got an opportunity to get in front of people that don't yet know they need a roof, or talk about these free inspections, or he's got this really cool widget on his website that get an instant quote, and it uses Google imagery to lock in on the roof, and it'll show you a quote. And it's like, man, put that out there, show people, let people play around with that tool and get them into your funnel. But you got to be running awareness ads about what goes into a hailstorm. What could happen to the roof? Go educate people. You're not encouraging them to get up on their roof and, fall and, hurt themselves. But if they do, you got some hero that wants to get up there and start lifting up shingles to see if they've got some damage. teach them how to do it. When they do find it, or realize they're too scared to get up on that pitch on their roof, then they call you. But you got to come from a place of giving information first. That's how I think business should go. It should be, what can I do for you? How do I help you? And then, we can work together.
Perfect. I have a lot more questions, but how are we doing on time?
I'm good, man. I blocked off the afternoon for you.
Perfect. Awesome. What do you think is the easiest thing a local service business can do to see results almost immediately?
Knock on doors. Knock on doors with a purpose. There's a lot of guys that have made a lot of money, like with the Clover, four Clover approach, whatever it's called, knocking on the 4 homes that are around that service call that you're on. I think the companies that still do it and do it the right way, and their team is dedicated to doing it, they have a lot of success with it. But if I was the business owner, I would go around like these politicians do, which is, I had one come by here recently, and it was the husband, the wife, and the kids. And he wanted to introduce himself and let me meet his family. And that's impactful, and that's why I encourage all of our clients, like, make sure that you have authentic imagery on your website. Kids and husband and wives and animals, they connect people and make you real and someone that they can relate with. So I think get your family out there, get your wife in the truck, get your kids in the car, and get you some nice folders, some nice presentation folders that have a clear representation of who you are. Look, you can get. I've got some here from this manufacturer we work with. So here's nice folder. Get your pockets in here. You can get stuffers in here that talk about IAQ stuff. Talk about your club maintenance program, but make sure it's a nice folder that you can walk around and you knock on their door. And it's so much like, how do you think that feels to someone if a technician was like putting a door hanger on a door? They're not going to have the same welcoming approach to a family standing there. Even if it's just a husband and wife, or if you're the owner, like, get one of your kids and y'all just go. And it's like, I don't know if I'm old enough to be your dad, but I feel like it. And like, but if you and I were walking around, like, I've got 3 boys, like they're 10, 11, 12. But if I owned a local business, me and my kids would be walking through neighborhoods and just knocking on doors and saying, hey, my name's Jonathan Bannister, and I own ABC Heat and Air here in Prosper, Texas. And this is my wife, Lauren, and this is my 3 boys, Bentley, Baylor, and Bronson. And like I said, I own the air conditioning company. We've been in business X years. And I've got this, folder here I want to leave with you. It's just got some information about who we are. And, and I'm not sure if you're have a relationship with a current air conditioning company. But if you don't, we would love the opportunity to earn your business. I've got some information there about our club membership. We come out twice a year for $99. And it's a way to, make sure that it extends the life of your system. And, again, don't want to take too much of your time, but we are part of this community, and we'd love to earn your business. Like, people don't remember. I don't even think people remember what you do for them. They definitely don't remember what you said to them, but they do remember how you made them feel. And I'm going to tell you that would make me feel good. We have a review software, Will, that we use, and the technicians, it drops a pin where the technicians are in the field, and it strengthens the local location pages of the site. But it sends a text message to get a review. And this is how we train the technicians. I tell them, you talk about that review after you make your introductory conversation with the customer. Once they tell you what the problem is or what they're experiencing, you put on your boot covers and you go, thank you, Mrs. Smith. Can you show me where the thermostat is or where the systems are, whatever you're going to ask. And then at that time, I tell them, you say, Mrs. Smith, I want to let you know that we are going to provide you the ABC 5-star service, the all heart 5-star service, whatever you're going to say there about the company. But I want to let you know, we're going to get you taken care of. We're so sorry you're experiencing this. And listen, when I get finished completing the service that I'm about to perform for you, I'm going to ask you for a review on me and the service I'm about to provide. I just wanted to let you know. And right there, you are planting the seed, setting the expectations that you're going to go do great work and that you're going to ask for something in return. And I tell people, it's the analogy that I use is every time we go out to dinner with my family, especially Texas Roadhouse, the manager comes by every single time and taps the table and says, "Hey folks, how was dinner tonight?" Dinner was great, thank you. And I tell people that if that manager was to go, "Well, I'm glad dinner was great. Here's a survey card. And if you fill out this survey, you get 10% off your meal tonight." I would never fill it out. Right? I didn't go there because I didn't bring my coupons. Wasn't expecting 10% off, but I don't care about the corporation that owns Texas Roadhouse. But that waiter or waitress that just spent the last hour filling up baskets of rolls and lemonade glasses of my kids, that person I care about, just like they care about the technicians that are up in their attic or the plumbers that are under their basement. They care about those people, right? So when you send your triggered automated review from your CRM system, after the technician's already pulled away, your conversions on those reviews are going to be shit. Now, if you're a big enough company that you send out thousands of reviews a month, well, you still may be getting 100, 150 reviews a month. But man, wouldn't it be awesome if you were converting 50, 60, 70% of those reviews? And we've got some clients that actually call the reviews that don't get completed. They call those customers with that warm, fuzzy phone call. They're completing 80, 90% of those reviews. But the reviews that come in when they're done the right way, they always put that technician's name in the description of that review because they do care about making sure that that technician gets highlighted or gets a perk, reward, whatever that little spiff looks like. So I think making sure that the question you asked about what would I do or what would I would tell a home service company trying to succeed right now, get out in the community, let them know who you and your family are, and shake some hands. People go, go to the local Chamber of Commerce meeting, all that. That's great, but everybody does that. So you're still competing with a bunch of other types of business. Yeah, you need to do that. You need to be part of some of those groups. You need to I know people that go all the ball games, right? Their kids are in sports, but they bring, hot dogs and they get popcorn or, again, bring the folders and just hand them out to people. But don't just say, "Hey, I own a company. Here you go." No, introduce them. Let them know that this is my family and we feel that we do amazing work and we care about this community. So if you ever need us, we're here. And here's some information on it.
100%. I really like that review thing you just went over. And
yeah,
you can literally tell who's doing it and who's not. It's a night and day difference. When you look up electrician near me, there's one with 2,500 reviews.
Yep.
And they're collecting 90% of the jobs.
Absolutely.
It's such an easy thing to do too. What do you think is the difference between trades companies that are, we kind of already answered this, but the companies that are super well established, just kicking ass in their area, and then the companies who are struggling, maybe one or two vans, and just kind of feel stuck? What do you think the difference is?
Well, obviously one has gotten their processes really dialed in, and that could be their marketing processes, their customer service processes, the processes internally with how the team operates. But I think that's key to all businesses. I like watching The Prophet, Marcus Lemonis, and he only invests in companies with the 3 Ps, right? You got to have, people, processes, and what was the other one? People, processes, and product, right? He wants to make sure they have a good product, they've got good people, and they've got good processes. And if one of those is bad, he wants to work with people that are willing to see that your process isn't good, and that's what's causing you to have a product that is too expensive, and you can drive that cost down if you were to work on the process. So those companies that can get out of their own way, and that's a pain point or a challenge I think a lot of these smaller companies have, because guess what? The owners are out doing the work as well. They're working with the team. But I'll tell you what, if you're not out in the field, if you got into a place where you're making enough money, you're comfortable, but you're not in the field, but you're not obsessing over your processes, like you're the problem. You are the issue. But the difference, I think, is how you begin to scale is you've got to get the right people, get the right processes, and you've got to do training, consistent training, role playing. You got to make sure that, I don't care if you bring in trainers to do it or you do it yourself. I think most owners could go to a couple of sales training events, buy the videos, whatever, run it through ChatGPT, get it to come up with a manual for you. But you come up with your own step and process that you think is what your guy's doing. But the key is repetitive training with your own internal team and making sure, because what you can't have is if you and I are both technicians, Will, if you go do it one way and I go do it another, the inconsistency there, when you start looking at that at scale, everything starts breaking. Well, why does this guy have a better close rate? Why does this guy, is his average ticket so much lower? How about efficiency numbers? My CFO is obsessive over efficiency rates. And so when you've got one technician at a 50% efficiency rate and one at an 80, like that's like when you start looking at that at scale, like, whoa, you could have this guy's 2-to-1 outworking him, but one employee making X dollars to now you need two people to do the same amount of work because these guys are so inefficient and this one's so efficient. So you got to get your stuff dialed in. I think a lot of people focus on revenue too much right now, and it's such a vanity number. Like, it means nothing. Like, don't, and I like to ask it, or I used to like to ask it in the sales calls, like, what is your revenue? What do you want to get to? Oh, we're at 3 million. We want to get to 5. And I started seeing this trend over the last 9 years, and that's kind of weird. Why are their numbers all like perfectly round? Like, oh yeah, we're at 2, we want to get to 4. We're at 1.5, we want to get to 2.5. And I'm like, okay, but why? Is there a reason? And more importantly, do you know approximately what it's going to cost for you to be able to get there? Right? Because I'm going to tell you what, getting to your first million, 2 million, 3 million isn't that hard in the home service space. I mean, it's really not. Like, if you got an average install of $15,000, like, you don't, in your average service ticket at $400 to $600, like, you don't need a lot of work to hit $1 million. But I'm going to tell you what, like, the people you got to have in place, the processes you have in place to get to 4, 5, 6 million, especially when you get over 6 million, like, a lot of things change in that place. You got to put a lot more money back in to start making more money because the overhead looks different, the team looks different, the processes look different. So I really think those companies that are succeeding, making money, doing well and growing, their processes are dialed in because they're hiring the right people, and all of their people are doing the same thing the same way on every call.
What are some little, like, lesser known or, I don't know, unknown tips or tricks that you see local service businesses using for marketing?
Tips and tricks that companies are using.
It's something that's, like, less known.
I have a lot of clients have a lot of success with direct mail, and
that's what I'm starting to learn right now.
We used to do direct mail up until 2021 when I bought my partner out that was the print side. And we kept it, like I was going to continue to do it, but the numbers just didn't make sense. And my CFO was like, your numbers are so much better on the digital marketing side. Like, why don't we just find partners for the direct mail and let's just leave that alone? And so that's what we decided to do. But I love the clients that do direct mail, and I'm starting to educate them more and more on the success that you can have when you get consistent with it. Because here's our philosophy. Our philosophy at Cornerstone, about to be Top Serve, is I don't care where you get the leads from. Our job is to plan it out and know where you want to get to as far as revenue. What is that goal? Then I want to reverse engineer your numbers to figure out how many leads, how many installs, how many jobs we need to get there on a monthly basis, because the leads and revenue you need in January won't be the same in July and won't be the same in December. So I want to plan that out. Then I want to put a forecast together of how much we need to spend to get there. Then it's our job again to figure out where we're going to spend that money to achieve that. Then it's our job together with you as a partner to look at those results and figure out did we hit or did we not. But I'm going to tell you what, I don't care if Walmart and Target started selling service call leads tomorrow, I'd be the first one in line. And I would say I'll buy $1 million worth of them for my clients for the future. So I don't care where they come from. So yeah, direct mail, I think it's something that people could do right now to get business. You got to be consistent with it. I would tell people, for me, if I had the option to send 25,000 direct mail cards out right now, I would tell them to send 5,000 out over the next 5 months. Get very targeted on your list of people. Find the homes that are older, whatever that subcategory you're looking for. But get your list, commit to 5,000, and hit them every month for 5 months. And I promise you, your return on your investment will 100% be there. All right? And again, we don't do direct mail. I don't sell direct mail. I don't make money off of direct mail for our clients. But I know it works, right? Radio works, but it works in a different way. You got to be super consistent. You got to have some deep pockets typically. And you got to be willing to sit there uncomfortable knowing, man, I'm spending $15, $20, $25, $30,000 a month on this radio campaign. And my phone's not ringing from the call tracking number I have on it, because it doesn't work that way. The way that works is you got to start looking at Google Analytics and Search Console and going, is our direct traffic going up each month? Because there's more and more people searching for us because of what they've heard or seen on the billboards or the radio ads. But direct mail, if you're consistent with it, if they were to get 5 different cards in with the right offer, the right graphics and things set up on it, because look, get creative. Find your local football teams. If you got one major high school football team in your area, great. Like where I live, there's just in Prosper, we have three different high schools, maybe four, and they're all Prosper schools, but they're all different high schools. They all have different football teams, and so I would do something if you had 2 football teams that were competitive in the same area, then get a direct mail card that was split, that the design was the 2 different colors of that school, and put like the school football schedule coming up of those 2 schools, or put something about that rivalry. Hey, who are you with? You with this team or you with this team? And then, look, because you want to, just like in video ads, you want to put something that stops the scroll just for an extra second or 2. You got to find something that makes them hold that card just for an extra second before they throw it away. Right? And so I would say direct mail. And I really like the email marketing strategy. Everybody has a list of customers. Most people will tell us, oh, yeah, we got 15,000 customers. I'm like, you have 15,000 maintenance agreements? And they go, oh, no, we only have like 200 maintenance agreements, but we got 15,000 customers in our database. And I'm like, okay, can you give me the people that you've talked to in the last 3 years? All right, let's look at that list. But I would email that list of people. And again, I would first come from value, place of value, give it tips, give advice, educate people, truly educate people, and ask for nothing. But if you happen to put a video in there because you're educating them through that video, and there happens to be a retargeting link on there from YouTube, then now you can get in front of them later on with some kind of offer that you may have. So those would probably be the 2 that I would do. SMS used to be great. Now the laws are just getting so much harder. Like if you don't have the opt-in approval from them, and it just gets really hard these days. So we definitely spend a lot of time texting our clients, existing customers, and we stay in front of them and top of mind that way. But it's just getting harder and harder to just randomly text other people that you don't know.
Yeah, get sued into oblivion.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I feel like we covered everything I wanted to go over. That was That was amazing.
Sweet. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Where can people find more about you?
Yeah, you can Google me, right? I got a Google search panel, so you can just Google Jonathan Bannister. Right now you can look up Cornerstone Marketing Solutions. We're obviously going through the rebrand. I would love for you to check out Home Service Hustle podcast, because I try to bring people. I've had some huge speakers on there. I've had Tommy Mello. I've had Jason Walker a few times. I've had just some big name people from the industry, because I want to pick their brains and figure out where did they get the success from. I get them to share some of their secret knowledge. I let you see a different side of these people. I've had Weldon Long on a couple times. I like to ask them questions, like get them to shoot from the hip, and I'm like, tell me something that you've never told anybody else that they don't know about you. Weldon Long shared a story about him getting he was in prison, and he got punched in the mouth in prison, and it split his lip all the way down, and he walked around for 2 weeks holding his lip together like this.
Yeah.
And so because he was like, if he would have went to the hospital inside the prison, then they would ask questions, and then you get a worse beating. So he just held his lip together. But he's like, I've never shared that story with anyone. So me and Jason Walker were talking about what we think the marijuana's like on Mars. I got Tommy Mello talking about aliens and all kind of crazy stuff. So yeah, check out the podcast. I try to give back to the industry as much as I possibly can. But yeah, man, just Google me, and look, reach out to me on social media, because I'm on every platform. But I would love to help anyone out there. I have more passion. If I could be a super wealthy dude, I would be a fractional CMO for free, because I wouldn't even own a digital marketing company or anything. I just love helping people. I think the same way that you do, and you and I both cannot stand to see when we start digging into some people's accounts, and you see that at best they've got very shoddy work being done, and at worst they're getting straight up screwed. And that sucks, And like I said, not all marketing companies are bad people. Some are straight up taking advantage of people. Some just don't know what they're doing. But regardless, I know you're on a mission to educate people, to help them own their own things and stuff like that. So that's just kind of what I'm teaching people, is look, here's how you look at Google Search Console. It's yours. You should be able to go in there at any time. Here's how to read Google Analytics. Stop getting a report that is saying that you've got all these phone calls came in, but that you're slow. Because guess what? You can go and look, and if it says that you're ranking for these 20 keywords and the report looks amazing, go to Search Console, because it'll tell you how much traffic, how many clicks came from that keyword. And if it says 0, it doesn't matter that you're in the first position for it, because it meant nothing to your business. But just understanding those things, I think just putting the power back into these owners' hands is important to me. So anybody needs help, reach out to Will. He'll help you. Reach out to me. I'm more than happy to hop on a call and just educate you on your stuff.
Awesome. Dude, thank you so much, man. Seriously. Thanks for taking the time to do this.
You know who you look like before we get off here? You look like the 18, 19-year-old version of Justin Timberlake when he was in NSYNC.
That's the second time I've heard that. So
I mean, you go look 2000 NSYNC, and you're going to see Justin Timberlake. I think he's got the same haircut. It may be with blonde streaks in it, but he's got 2 earrings in. I'm like, man, Will is looking like old or young JT. So,
I've heard that ever since I moved to Vegas. That's funny. Now I gotta look this up. It's I brushed it off the first few times, but now
you got to look it up, and then when you edit this content here, you got to make sure you throw the picture up that you find, because Doug is going to be freaked out when he sees that his dad is reincarnated and he's really Justin Timberlake. Well, dude, I've enjoyed it. I happy to come back anytime,
and talk shop with you. So I appreciate you having me on.
Dude, thank you.
Yeah, dude. Reach out. I do appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
I will. You
See
too.
you, man. Bye.